and to collect specific information. David Fraser is a retired Major General with the Canadian Forces, and he's also a military analyst nowadays. General Fraser, always good to see you. Your take on the Chinese and their outrage over the Americans shooting it down.
Well, Todd, I think the Chinese are playing a completely defensive game here, that they're trying to obfuscate the situation with both of these balloons. And at the same time, the Americans are making some political hay at the fact that one of them went over our territory and it was shot down. And now they're going to try to uh, capture and exploit all the intelligence they can off this before they go back and talk to the Chinese.
Yeah, I'm curious what you think may have happened here. There's all sorts of theories flying around. One, that it may have just been an accident, went off course. Others, suggesting it might have been the Chinese military trying to, create a problem between Chinese-American relations. Your thoughts, General Fraser, based on what we know?
Well, the timing couldn't be more odd if you think about what's going on in Ukraine, what the Americans are trying to restart with the Chinese. That the Chinese, whoever put up this balloon, know what the weather patterns and the wind patterns are, so that And again, these balloons don't have a lot of steering capability. They pretty well go where the currents take them. So when the Chinese let this thing go, they probably had a pretty good idea it was going to come over the North America. So why did they do it, and what did they expect in return? I mean, obviously, if you send something that's 200 feet tall and has a payload of a couple hundred pounds underneath it, if not more, it's going to create a stink, and it certainly has created a stink, and now they're playing catch up.
Yeah, some might be surprised, General Fraser, at sort of the Chinese outrage over all of this. But I mean, is that sort of a strategy? They don't really seem to be all that apologetic here.
They're not apologetic at all. They're not forthcoming at all. So, the good defense is a good offense. And so they're just, outraged at what the Americans have done. I think the American response is being fairly measured by all, cases here. And, we're not going to send over your Secretary of Department of Secretary until you actually know what's actually happening with this balloon. So I think it was even prudent for the United States to hold off, analyze what they actually have, send their Secretary of State over, and then have a heart-to-heart conversation with the Chinese, who you got to ask the question, what were you thinking?
Also, we're hearing from NORAD, they believe that this device, was purposely built, General Fraser, to fly over specific portions of the U.S., collect detailed information, specific information from on high. What does that tell you about the nature of this balloon?
Well, the fact that it was sent up so high, it was sent at the time, and in the wind patterns that actually brought it over here, it does kind of lead us to believe that the intent was nothing scientific. It was something to solicit some sort of response from the U.S. and from Canada, for that matter. And so NORAD, who watches everything that flies in the sky a lot higher, but in this case, they probably had other assets looking at it, probably saw this thing coming. As I said, they did the assessment. It wasn't a threat militarily or domestically for any of us, and they dispatched it when it was safely over the Atlantic Ocean. But everybody's going to be really interested in what was on this balloon, what was the Chinese intent, and then the Americans are going to engage the Chinese into saying, what is going on?
Yeah, so U.S. divers, Navy divers, recovering that wreckage and trying to figure out, once they get it, what's on. I mean, your thoughts on what might be found and what that might tell us about this balloon?
Well, the Chinese are very sophisticated. They've garnered an awful lot of technology. They've come a very long way. They've stolen a lot of technology. So I think the Americans are going to try to figure out, what was the purpose and the intent of this balloon by analyzing the parts of the balloon like we're seeing on the TV right now. What was the construction of it? Did it have any guidance, direction capability? Did it have any transmission capability? What was on the payload? What more can the Americans expect from the Chinese, given what they have in their hands right now? Then they go back and deal with the political fallout from this once they have analyzed everything about it.
General David Fraser, thanks for this as always. Appreciate your expertise on this story.
Todd, thank you.